Namaste everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. So before we start the webinar, I will just host one poll. You will be able to see it on your screen. And can you please answer the question for me? So the question is, have you previously attended any events of Brahma Kumari? As soon as you answer it, the poll window should go away. And we will be using this poll a couple of times in the presentation. Okay, thank you so much. So today's webinar is why we think what we think. Let's give it a minute to ourselves. Sit relaxed. The next 1 hour, I dedicate to myself, keeping all the distractions aside. My phones, laptops, or just my ordinary thoughts. I promise for the next 1 hour, I will focus on myself. There might be some things which I already know, but hearing it again might deepen my belief. There might be some new things I learn. I decide to pick up at least one thing for my growth, which would benefit me, which I will implement. I will take this webinar more as a workshop, as a hands-on session for myself, as an hour of reflection. In this webinar, we will answer 3 main questions. One is why I think what I think. Next is why I don't think what I want to think. And then what should I think? So before we go to why I think what I think, let us first understand what we are thinking. So let's focus on what am I thinking? The majority of my thoughts revolve around certain topics, and out of which majority thoughts which the researchers have found belong to these following topics. We will take them one by one. First is my role. There might be different roles I'm playing. If it's a doctor will be reminded of the patient. If it's any other profession, if I consider myself as a doctor, I will be reminded of my patients, of the hospital, of that kind of work. If I consider myself as an engineer, I will be reminded of that kind of work. So, as I believe I am, what my role is, I will have thoughts according to that, or I will be reminded of people and relations according to that. So similarly, if I think myself or I think my role is as a mother, I will remember such, I will get such thoughts and I will remember such people like the children. If I remember my role as a teacher, I will remember the students. So we play different kind of roles in our life, right? We have few relationships at home, we have few relationships at work, outside, as a friend or anything. So when I am in that particular role, I'm reminded of those kind of thoughts. Another one is the major chunk of thoughts we have is from the past memories. So when I do not forgive, I can never forget. And we are not talking about one or two times we remember the past, right? We are talking about the thoughts which keep coming to us when we are free or when we don't have anything to do. Some memories keep visiting us and we are concentrating on that chunk of thoughts. So when these memories will keep coming to us, if something has happened in the past and I have not forgiven something or someone, it can be other people or it can be myself. When I have not forgiven them or myself, I'm not able to forget. And that's why those thoughts keep visiting me. So then, what should we do? Then we will say maybe it was not fair for them to behave in such a way. Maybe we would think that why should I be the one forgiving? Why should I be the one? It's their mistake. There might be any justification we might feel. And we might feel, why should always I be the one who is forgiving? But then let me think, is it, what is, whom am I forgiving? Yes, I'm forgiving them, but who is it for? Have you ever experienced any time past memories are visiting you and they're making you feel happy? If you there is something bothering you from the past repeatedly, if you're thinking many days in line or many years maybe, it is only weakening me, right? It is not making me happy, or it is not boosting me or making me powerful. It's just weakening me. So it is for my benefit that I have to forgive them, and I have to forgive myself also, because there might be few things which I have not done properly, or it might not be according to my expectations. I might have not met my expectations, or I might have done something for which I keep sticking to that guilt and regret, and I carry it over years. People have moved forward, but I'm still carrying that guilt. Maybe nobody remembers what I did, so I am punishing myself and I'm actually weakening myself. So I should take a pledge. If I want to grow, I should forgive, and then only I can forget other people and my mistakes. We should definitely learn from them. That is what the magic of past is, right? That it gives us a gift, that we can learn from experiences. It gives us experiences. Maybe sometimes it's pleasant, maybe sometimes it's not very pleasant, but it always gives us a reason to grow, a reason to not repeat things. Then the next question arises, what should I forget? Sometimes you might say, there are so many pleasant things also, and why should I forget that? Right? But it is still past. And we are not talking about when we are meeting in a group of people and we are cherishing the past moments. No, these are repeated thoughts which I am getting. Even if it is, if they are pleasant thoughts, but they are still not right now. They are from the past. One or two times if you visit, it's fine. But if it is coming every day, if it is bothering me, that means it is it is not right, because here it's shown that there's an elderly lady, and no matter how young and beautiful she was in the past, it is a good thing. But if she remembers again and again every day, what will happen to her? So any kind of past memories, it is not going to give me any fruit, because it has happened, it is not with me today. Similarly, there is future. Major chunk of thoughts also go in that. Planning for future is very good, but worrying about future, sometimes a child is just born and parents start worrying about the child. What will his future be? Or what if we are not with him? And similarly with children, they start worrying about the parents. What if they grow old? Who will take care? Every soul, every being has come with their own destiny. They have their own journey, and they have their set, the drama is set for them. We are no one. We cannot like change anything. Yes, we can help them, but worrying is not helping. When we want to help them, we have to pass on positive thoughts to them and to self also. Sometimes it is for self, where what will happen to me when I grow old? What if I get affected? I have health issues, right? And then there is some overthinking about future too. Sometimes we are building castles in air where we are planning so much about future that, and we are not executing anything. Even that will waste a lot of our thoughts. So realistic planning is very important. Otherwise, when it doesn't happen, again, we are going to suffer mentally. We are going to regret. We wasting time also, and it will also weaken us. So about future, we have to be aware of one thing. We are attracting what we are thinking. And this is 100% true. And we can experiment this. So whatever you want your future to be, you have to change your present thought. So if I want my future to be XYZ, my current thoughts should be like that. And then there are few more things which drains my energy, few more things because of which I am spending the thought energy, I'm spending thoughts. What are those? Sometimes like these are not even necessary to be there, right? Past and future thoughts, maybe it's understandable, but there are few things which are add on. One is gossip. When I'm speaking to someone and gossip spreads negativity, it spreads the negative energy, it wastes my time, my thought energy, and it wastes the other person's thought energy, and it also passes all this energy to the person who it's been talked about, right? If I am not able to keep the secret or anything, what is the guarantee the other person will be able to, right? Because all are low in energy, all are weak now. So if I'm not able to keep things, it's better I don't hear them rather than I hear them and then I search for people whom I can tell. Another one is curiosity. Check before you get curious about anything or you want to know things. Sometimes curiosity is good when you want to learn and grow. But if it's often said, right? It's none of your business. If it is that way, think how much thoughts and how much energy you're spending there. Check for yourself. What is that to me? If I'm interested in someone else's life, what do I have to do? What will that help me with? We have to check that. Otherwise, we'll spend a lot of time in this. Sometimes talking too much, right? When we want to make our presence felt, we talk. When we talk, it's not just talking. We have to think before what to talk. We have to produce thoughts. We have to create thoughts. Even sometimes when we are talking a lot and we think, we just say that sorry, I didn't even think this. I just said it. But behind the mechanism is that thought has come. That's why you have said it. Words don't come on their own. There is a thought, but it's just so fast that we don't realize the thinking. And imagine how much energy it's draining. So there's a very beautiful saying, speak only when you think your words are more beautiful than silence, right? There are many things which can be conveyed with very little words or in silence. So it is very dangerous to just talk to be acknowledged or to be recognized, because we start losing our value. The person who talks a lot, do you think his opinion will be considered much, or there will be some people who just rarely speak? They will be heard, right? Because when we are talking less, we are also consuming the energy and producing good quality thoughts and good quality words. And this talking too much with mouth also, and it's also in mind. Some people sometimes are very silent, but in mind there are a lot of thoughts. So this talking is not only through mouth, but also keeping the mind silent. Another one is being idle. It is said that idle mind is devil's workshop, right? Why it's said that? The person who's idle is not valuing time, is wasting time. When I don't have any work, I am thinking everything in the world, right? So it's very important to keep myself busy. And this busy is not just physically busy. Say I'm doing every day 24 hours or 12 hours a day, I'm working, but is my mind working? Or my mind is idle? I am doing mundane things. Am I giving work to mind? Am I keeping my mind busy? That is something we have to check. Even sometimes we are not doing anything. We are sitting maybe at one place, but if my mind is busy, it will not create upheaval. It will not create lot of thoughts. It will not be a devil's workshop, because even though I'm sitting at one place physically because I cannot move, but mind is active. It is constructive. So make plan for your mind, make a timetable of what kind of thoughts you want to create. If there are some tasks which you don't need to think, for example, sometimes there's cooking where we are not thinking much, we are just doing. So then we have to plan our day, or we have to see what things I can do when I'm not using my mind too much. So we can play some instrumental music, or we can play some good vibration songs, some songs which would connect me to the supreme, where I can withdraw, like I can draw positive energy, something like that. So there are a lot of things and lot of ideas we can explore. And on the other hand, overthinking. So where thinking, we have to give work to mind, but also we should not fall into this disease of overthinking. There is sometimes something and we tend to think a lot about it. So that is also something we should pay attention to. And these things might exist in some percentage or the other in each one of us, but we just have to explore and pay attention, and this can be handled. Now we'll come to the question why I think what I think. Now, our thinking is affected or is influenced by a lot of things. One of them is the world around me. It is said that we are colored by the company we keep. And in Hindi, it said, Jaisa sang vaisa rang. So, what is this world around me? Of course, the world around me is those thoughts, but what are these thoughts based on? So, sometimes it's the things I read, the things I see, or whatever I browse or explore. Sometimes it's my own investigation or experiences, what I find. And then a lot of times it is the company I keep, right? My friends, family, relatives, colleagues. You might have observed your thought pattern or your uh, creation of thoughts is influenced by the group of people you're in. So we have to make a clever choice here who you should be keeping as your company. How should you design your own world? Now let's take a poll. Now in this poll, we are checking when I'm not working, what thoughts am I creating the most? So most of the daytime we are spending constructively, right? We are working and we are busy and we have meetings, if we have office work or we have homework, some household work where we are using our brain and our mind, and we are creating thoughts. When I'm not using my mind that much, I'm free. What kind of thoughts I'm creating? So we will categorize it into three buckets: positive, negative, and waste. So positive or constructive thoughts, which are making me grow, which are like, it's making me happy or content. Some are negative thoughts which are lowering my energy, which is weakening me. And then there are waste thoughts, thoughts about past, future, which we cannot do anything about. Overthinking or curiosity, lot of questions, or window shopping, anything like that. Those are waste. So let's take a poll. So when I'm not working, what thoughts am I creating the most? And just pay attention and answer this question. This is anonymous, this is just for ourselves. By default, where my energy is going. And no one is going to know the results, but we will know as a group, but no one will know individual results. So this is a checking we should make. And when we make this checking, we will know, our attention will go where I'm spending my time the most. When you answer this, the window will go from your screen automatically. All right. So let's see the results. So 36% create positive thoughts, 17% create negative, and 47% waste. Yes, waste, it's very popular, the creation of waste thoughts, because maybe negative, we are attentive and we try not to think, and then we have also reached a stage. But waste, it is like we have to really pay attention to see whether it's waste or whether it's important. So that is a catch, a bucket, but we can always check for ourselves. Now there is another poll, and let's see. We saw that why we think what we think, right? And now we will see, am I thinking what I want to think? Is it really what I want to think? Am I thinking that? And it's majority of the day we are talking about, majority of our life. All right. So we have some results. 46% say yes and 54% say no. Okay. So we'll go with the majority, and we will address this issue also. So we saw that we are not able to think what we want to think always, right? There will be times when we are thinking, of course, right? But there will be times when we are not able to. And what is why? Why is it that? Why I am not able to think what I want to think? So we are lowered in the battery, right? It's a person walking where the battery is very low. Similarly, when I don't have the power, I know what is right and I know what I'm supposed to think, but I am not able to reach there. I'm not able to think those thoughts and continuously. We are not talking about 1 or 2 thoughts or 1 hour or 2 hour a day. We have to treat ourselves fully, right? So we are talking about 24/7. We are talking about every day. Am I that powerful that I am able to create each and every thought the way I want to? Or we think thoughts keep coming. Oh, I didn't want to think this, but it just came. Or I didn't want to create these thoughts. Or I don't know where these thoughts came from. So it shows that we are lacking power. All of us, right? None of us are like 100%. We can guarantee that throughout my life, I have never thought even one thought without my wish. Can we guarantee that? So we are all on this journey where We want to create what we want to think. And what happens because of that low power, we are not able to think that. And why we are not able to think? Because there's an insulation around us. The insulation, it stops us from emitting or transmitting that energy. I am actually the being of light, and this body is my costume, or this body, I can say, is my insulation, right? I am this being of light, and this body is my insulation. So when I start believing and thinking, I am this body, I am insulated. I will not be able to transmit that energy or that light outside. I am a soul, I am that being of light, and this body is mine, which is fine. But what we started thinking was, I am this body. Now, when we are insulated, when I'm thinking I am this body, I am not able to charge myself. We saw that we are low in power. The powerhouse, or the supreme being of light, is all light. And for that light to reach me, I need to remove the insulation. And by removing, we don't have to we have to still stay in the body, but only with mind. I'm changing this thought that I am this point of light, I am not this body. That's only the insulation which I have removed like immediately in a second. So with only that thought that I am this light, I am able to attract that powerhouse, and I'm able to download that power from the powerhouse. And that is the supreme being, the light energy. And then my whole world changes. The concept of I and mine changes. I am still the being of light. I am the soul. But who is mine? It's only the supreme being is mine. So when this kind of thought changes, everything around me changes, right? Because when I think the body is mine, it is, yes, it is my costume, and it has been given for me to perform any task. But when I start being in that conscious, that who is mine, I start thinking everything around it. So the one, what we saw, the role I'm playing, I'll start thinking, oh, I am mother, I am father, I am teacher, or I am a doctor or engineer. Everything will surround near the body, bodily role, bodily relations, bodily positions. Everything will be around that. And everything is very demanding. It will need your energy, right? Also, the thoughts about past and future, what do you think they are? It's all related to body. It is all related to my relations with body, so situations with body, my health, everything related to body. Now, when I change my world internally, that I am this being of light and the supreme being is mine, nothing is mine, my world of thoughts changes. My role, it is just an actor. I am in this body and I'm acting. My relations, everything who are around me are also actors. And one relation I have is with the supreme being. That's the truth. That is the true relation. All the attainments and all the jewels I get from the supreme being, that is what I get. And in this relation, I'm only getting. The relation with the supreme being is such that I don't have to give anything, wherein the other relations I'm all giving, right? So what happens, that charges me, because here I am being loved, and I'm being cared for, and I'm given the like treasure of happiness, and I'm given knowledge, and I'm given power. So I transform. I, the being of light, I go under that transformation. The transformation I have with love from the supreme being, because I am charged. I am only getting. And then I am also transmitting to others. because I have to be here, I have to be in relations, and I'm going to do everything. But now I'm charged. I have removed the insulation, and it will help me remove others' insulation too. So my relations become beautiful. Whatever role I'm playing, I'm still playing, but I'm fulfilling them so much. I'm exceeding expectations because now I'm full. I'm all charged. So if I'm playing a role as a mother, daughter, sister, husband, father, or doctor, engineer, anything, I am like giving extra in every role. So that is what the magical experience when we connect to the right source, right powerhouse, when we remove that insulation. And then, like, I am this point of light and I am this actor, all the others, all the souls in the world are also the supreme beings, children. All of us are same, even though the bodies are different of everyone for distinguishing purposes, right? But everyone is same, everyone is being of light, but yet there are differences, there are few differences. But then we start getting this family feeling, we start getting this unity, we all are one family. So let's go to next topic then. Now we will see two types of consciousness. So when I say I'm insulated, means I'm in body consciousness, and when I'm out, I am light, there's a soul consciousness. Now I will represent devil as the body consciousness and angel as the soul consciousness. Why it is important to know this? There are certain decisions, there are certain tasks, there are many things we are going on, we are facing in life, and uh, we have to check in ourselves. Each one of us have both of these. So no one is perfect yet. Each one of this, each one of us have both these consciousness. We have to check at a point within even a day, within an hour, we have to check which consciousness I am in right now. We are getting to soul consciousness, we are getting to becoming that angel, but right now, as I notice like which consciousness I am, and as I make changes, only then I will reach there, right? So a few examples of body consciousness and soul consciousness. So when I have this devil consciousness or body consciousness, sometimes I feel like I should go ahead, like I should not let people go ahead of me, or I should, maybe I can make them fall also. It is very subtle sometimes. It might be as simple as, oh, why don't I do this task? Or why they are being appreciated. It can be as simple as that. But the behind, what is the intention? We should go deep and check that. Whereas the angel consciousness would want to take someone down up who's already fallen. Then in body consciousness, we get the feeling of competition and comparison. Whereas in angel consciousness, we'll always have the win-win feeling that everyone should go together and everyone should reach the destination on time. In body consciousness, I am so disturbed, I am not able to think clearly. I am bombarded with so many thoughts because when I'm in body consciousness, I have more of waste and negative thoughts, and which doesn't allow me to think clearly. There's a lot of noise. Whereas in angel consciousness, in soul consciousness, I am lit, I am knowledgeable, and I'm surrounded by positive thoughts. So I can make good decisions. I can like think properly, and I can also always spread this light to others around me. And it's no more noise. It's like very beautiful music of silence. So who do you think wins? So in the long run, over time, angel consciousness, soul consciousness is the winner. Maybe body consciousness thinking might get you to a certain time. You might feel victory for a very short amount of time. but it does come with a consequence, and it does come with a long-term loss. Whereas soul consciousness, maybe you think, oh, I have not, maybe it requires a lot of patience, and maybe it requires sacrifices or some things like that. But in the long run, that is what wins, and that is what we are going, that is the journey we want to take. Now we saw that we are thinking something, and we saw that we are not thinking what we want to think. Now the next question arises, can we change our thinking? If we know that we are not thinking what we want to think, is it possible to change our thinking? So I don't even need to share these results. I think everyone is saying yes. So let's end this poll. And so we can change our thinking, right? Now let's go to the next part. Then what should we think? What should I think? It is said that you are the painter of your own life, right? We can create our life by the thoughts we create now. Like we saw, whatever thoughts I'm creating now is eventually creating my future. And we have also heard of this saying, what we think we become. Then it is very important to change that thinking. Then it is also important to know that what are things which are harmful for me, which I shouldn't think. So there are things like thoughts around anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego. These are the things which are weakening me. Anytime you create thoughts around this, are you feeling more stronger? Are you feeling more powerful? Or are you feeling guilty? Are you regretting? Also check how long are you being able to be in these emotions. Say we get angry. How long can I stay in that emotion? Not very long enough, right? Maybe a few hours, maybe a few days even, but not longer than that, because that's not who I am. All this is insulation. All this is body consciousness. So if I know that what thoughts I shouldn't create, or where I can check for myself when I create any thought, how am I feeling about it? Is there something which is like bothering me from inside, saying, oh, you shouldn't have done this? Or is there something which I'm feeling weak about after creating that thought? I'm feeling powerless. Check, because that's not our original nature. So it will affect you, or it will, we will be able to think not very good after creating thoughts around these things. So that's the checking we can do. Then what should I think? Now, when we tell I shouldn't create these thoughts, our mind will like first go to creating those thoughts, right? So then we have to do this kind of exercise, that what should we think? Now, when I say I'm not going to create thoughts of anger, that will not help me as much when I say I'm going to create thoughts around peace. So let's concentrate on the positivity. Let's concentrate on the thoughts which we should create. And automatically, the thoughts we shouldn't create will go away. So when I create thoughts around peace, love, happiness, bliss, knowledge, power, and purity, that is going to uplift me. Anytime you create thoughts around these qualities, have you felt bad? Have you felt less energetic? Have you ever hurt anyone? Think about it. When we are creating thoughts around these things, nothing can go wrong. It's only when some body consciousness attributes come in mixed with these feelings, then I'm hurting people or I'm regretting or feeling guilty. If you're giving somebody something, if you're loving someone, what is, you cannot expect anything to go wrong, because when we are giving such thoughts, we are also attracting the same energy back. So when we are creating the thoughts of peace, we cannot expect the energy of anger to come back to us. We will experience multi-million times energy of peace which is coming back. And when I'm creating thoughts in such great level, like the thoughts of peace, then automatically all the thoughts related to that frequency will come to me. So when I'm creating peace, I'll automatically feel happy. I'll feel bliss. When I'm creating love, I'll feel happy also. So all these thoughts are together. When we create one thought, everything else will attract us. So this is the soul consciousness, and this is who I am. Now the question arises, how will I create such thoughts? Definitely, it is our willpower and our power or strength which will help me create these thoughts. But there are few things which can also help me, and we'll discuss those things. It's important to understand the mechanism behind that thought so that we know what how I can, where, what is the root cause and how I can improve it. So we'll take a few examples. We'll take 3 examples. First example, I'm comparing thought to a seed. Now let's say thought is a seed. I am planting the thought, and the seed is bound to give the fruit, right? When I water it in a certain way, it will give me a fruit. Now when I get the fruit and I say I don't want this fruit, is it possible? We will say exchange this fruit for me, I don't like this fruit. It will not be possible. If I want a different fruit, I have to change the seed. Similarly, when we create a thought, it's created. Whatever consequence we are getting is because of that seed, what I already sowed. Whichever thought I've created, I will get the consequence. So, in order to change the consequence, I have to change the thought. Then I also water the thought in the meanwhile, right? When I create the thought and between I get the fruit, I am watering the thought. So when, say for example, there's some negative thought and I'm continuously thinking negative all the time, I am watering that more, and the fruit will be more powerful that way, full of negativity. Now if I am putting a positive seed, a positive thought, and I'm watering it positively with knowledge, with power, such will be the fruit. Another example, let's take of a stage. Say mind is a stage, and then thought is an actor. I will say intellect is the director. And then there are sanskars or impressions or personality traits, which are the people at the backstage. Now, any show to go on successfully, mind or the stage needs to have some particular actors which are in sync with what the director says, right? If a director directs some actors, then accordingly they should come on time and go on time. What if the actors in the backstage are not listening to the director? What will happen? There will be chaos, right? So that is our situation currently. Sometimes when we are not able to control our thoughts, our intellect, who's a director, is suggesting some thoughts to come, but we don't have the control, or maybe the mic is not working of that intellect, it's not reaching the people at the backstage. That there can be many reasons. So that way we have to think, how many people on stage would look good? Thousands or just a few? So just a few, right? One or two. So when mind, which is our stage, has very few thoughts, we can give a very good show. When the thoughts listen to the intellect, We can give a very good show. So intellect sharpens with the meditation. The mic which is not working of the intellect, it will get some battery and will start working with the power of meditation. Also the thoughts, the quality of thoughts or the quality of actors backstage are filtered out because of meditation. We are putting that check immediately at the backstage itself, at the level of sanskaras. What thoughts are we creating? Are these quality thoughts? So then whoever goes on stage, it doesn't matter, they will be all good, right? Otherwise we have to filter who should come or who should not. We have to spend a lot of time there. Another example, let's take, mind is like a machine. It will, it has some raw material, some input, and it will produce some output. If we are giving proper input, it will produce a very good output. But say there is some waste or raw material, waste or negative kind of raw material, it is going to work and it will give a bad output. So that way also we can check what kind of thoughts I can give, or what kind of information I should give, or I should read, or I should watch, what I can see, so that the thoughts are created at that level. And some of the practices which can help me think right. One is appreciate the differences. We saw that when we have the feeling of competition and comparison, it is very hard and we spend a lot of time thinking on that. So there are 7.8 billion different types of thinking because there are 7.8 billion minds. That's the world population. So there will be different type of thinking. There will be uh, different ways people react to a situation, or there can be many things. But when we function as a team, when we have appreciation for them, we have the respect, then we can succeed. And then we'll not spend much time thinking because we are accepting people. We are not arguing on why they are like that or why they are thinking like that. We are accepting it. So major chunk of my energy is saved. Another one is when I'm giving my 100% to whatever I do, and when I'm giving it with love, when I'm doing it willingly, then I don't have to think about it later. Otherwise, many times we have this regret or guilt when I didn't do my 100%. So let's give our 100% to whatever we do, right? Because there is also a saying, Karma Cafe has no menu. You get served what you deserve. So if I am cheating, or if I and unintentionally, intentionally, if I'm doing something which I know is not right, then I am bound to get the fruit of it. And this also makes us little carefree, right? That whatever others are also doing, they are bound to get the fruit of that. Who are we to question that? That why this person didn't do anything, and we are spending the thoughts on that. But no, we don't have to worry, because we all are in the same law of karma. I should do my best, and then I should not spend my energy or thoughts in that, right? Then there's a concept of S curve. So in this, it says that whatever task you do, maybe professionally, personally, anything we are doing, we are going through a curve cycle where in the beginning we are in this stage of growth. There will be a time we will be at the peak and there will be some downfall. It is learning new things or anything like that. When we are doing this, our mind is becoming idle or becoming weak here, this phase. So the concept of S curve is that whenever we are at the peak, start something which makes us grow, like a new growth or an innovation, something like that. Don't wait for something to fall and then go and take a high jump. So similarly, in our life, we will have, we will be good at many things. When we are at our best, we should go and divert our energy or stretch ourselves, or come out of the comfort zone and do something new and grow in that area. So then that will be a progress. The graph will only go up. And this will also keep our mind busy. We will not spend energy elsewhere. Otherwise, when we get weak, the thoughts of weakness will start attracting us. When things get monotonous, it is very hard, or it must be little difficult to go in that new growth path. So it is best to take that new growth when you are already at the peak. And then as I silence the mind, I can clearly see my thoughts, right? So that's the power of meditation. It does get the balance of the left and the right brain. We know each part of brain controls different things, so we get like a perfect balance of that. Also, we don't have much noise in the mind. In during meditation, it gets us to that theta delta level where very low thoughts are in the mind. And when there are very low thoughts, each thought can be heard, each thought can be acted upon. Each thought, which in turn causes a feeling, can be felt. So, its most important practice we should do is sit in solitude and reflect. What is going on? Any changes we want to get, we can get it that way. We should sit in solitude and then connect to the Supreme and download that energy. Meditation helps us increase focus. It enriches our mood. It gets feelings of kindness and compassion. And then it reduces our stress level, anxiety, aggression, all those things. So for a few minutes, we'll practice this kind of meditation, and then you can practice this every day. It's recommended early morning and before sleeping, definitely we should do. And then in a day also, within every hour, we should go and check what kind of thoughts I'm creating, what kind of feelings I'm having, whether it's angel consciousness or devil consciousness. And then we'll get closer to being that angel. So we can sit relaxed and go into the deep silence of our minds. My mind is my best friend. And it will listen to everything I say. I am the master of my mind. I am beautiful angel who spreads light and positivity all around. I am a tiny point of light who is child of God. I am the angel who is helper of God. The only thoughts I create is for the benefit of self and the world. This world is my family. And as God's helper, I am here to spread that positivity, kindness, peace, love, happiness, knowledge in the world. I am here to make each being powerful, Each thought I create is pure, and it is uplifting the world. Each time I create a thought, the world is becoming a better place. I am this being. I am a pure being, spreading the light of purity in this world. The world I see is full of God's angels. The world I see is happy, peaceful, and a pure place. Om Shanti. For those who don't know, we'll just talk about the organization a little bit. Brahma Kumari's World Spiritual Organization was founded in 1937, and it has a global presence in more than 130 countries with more than 8,000 centers, and we have 1 million members practicing this meditation. The motto of us is World Transformation through Self-Transformation. We have a local center here in Silicon Valley, which is led by Sister Kusum. Kusum Didi, she's the director of center, and she's been practicing this meditation since her childhood. And she has completely surrendered her life in this godly service. We have more than 200 regular students attending these sessions, and currently all these sessions are online due to COVID. We have a website, svbrahmakumaris.org. You'll also get all these details in the chat, and we offer free Raj Yoga meditation courses, webinars, events, living value for kids, parenting classes, retreats, and more. So everything is free. We do not charge for anything. It's for the world benefit. But if you would like to make your fortune, there's a link you can donate, and you'll also get receipts for it. The link will be posted in chat. Okay. There is upcoming sessions, the Raj Yoga meditation course, which is December 5th, 6th, 12th, 13th, 19th. It's like 4 consecutive weekends. It's offered both in English and Hindi. Then we have a 10-day positive attitude pledge. So we have like a free webinar meditation session, 7:30 to 8 p.m. every day, and they are on different topics. So there's no prior experience needed, and you can join at svbrahmakumaris.org/live meditation. And it's very good for beginners because it's guided, and there are different topics which help us improve on. There are living value classes for kids, and then vitamins for smart parenting. So we have like a kids and parents classes, and you can check more information on the website.